Did you sign up for the writing challenge? A lot of people did, and it's kicked off. Here's the thing, because we're going to talk about how you can grow your business through writing and blogging and creating content, using content marketing as a strategy today. But here's the thing, and this is, if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, just type in /Ellery Wells. I'm the same thing everywhere, except on Facebook, but I'm the only one in the world. Anyway, I was talking about this because you could take out a massive loan and you could get ads, or you could get a store space, or you could buy inventory and put it on a shelf and really make it look like you've got this fantastic business. And maybe you would have a fantastic business, but you would also have all of this debt. You would also have all of this inventory that you would have to manage, all this overhead like lights and gas bills and rent. Or you could go with what I'm talking about and how I've built my business, how Pat Flynn built his business, how the podcast Answer Man, Cliff Ravenscraft, built his business, how all of these people, Gary Vaynerchuk with his wine library videos on YouTube that nobody watched for 700 episodes that he keeps talking about, all of these people that you probably admire. If you listen to podcasts, you're kind of in this, usually, not always, but you're usually in this niche of people who are focused on personal development, and you probably recognize the name of one of those people. They've all built their business based on content marketing. Do you think that it's a good idea or a good way for you to build your business too? Just throwing that out there, because again, you could take on the loan and have all this inventory, or you could just talk about your business online for a minute. But I also want to make sure that you know it's not just sharing content, because I've got a couple of friends, they're wanting to start a business, they're not doing what I'm talking about, and they're not making any money yet. And I feel bad. I don't feel bad, because I've told them how I would do it. I've made suggestions and they've kind of refused not to do it. But I feel bad for laughing. But because I want everybody, I really do want everybody to succeed, and that includes them, and that includes you. But when you go into content marketing, you have to have a strategy for it. You have to do things that build your reputation and build your brand and your business, establish yourself as an authority, and move people from knowing who you are to liking who you are to trusting who you are and what you have to say. But anyway, what we're talking about today, and by the way, if you want to go, this isn't the link for today's show, but the challenge, go to the face. Well, let me do two things. Go to Facebook and type in empowered and equipped. But the "and" is that little, what's that? An ampersand? Is that what that thing is called? And join that Facebook group, because you'll get to see all of the people talking about what they're doing with the writing challenge in the Facebook group, because there's a lot of people that are participating in this, and I am too, all throughout the month of August on ElleryWells.com. But I started blogging 5 years ago. Actually, it's now 5.5 years ago. And when I did, I didn't know much about how to do it, like my friends who are doing videos on Sundays. They are creating content. They got the first step, but they need to tweak the direction in which they're going. But I didn't know how to do it, when to do it, or what would make something very effective as a blog post, as a piece of content marketing. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Cue the intro. I'll be right back. I'm not one of those entrepreneurs who gave up their 6-figure salary and fancy office to start a business, and I wasn't selling lemonade to my neighbors when I was 7. I wasn't born an entrepreneur, and I never laid awake at night dreaming of owning my own business. My name is Ellery Wells, and I was forced to make a decision. Welcome to the Ellery Wells Show, where we talk with real entrepreneurs about real problems that they're facing and real solutions on how they are overcoming obstacles, achieving their goals, and making a difference in the world. If you're an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, this is the place to be to help you start, build, or grow your business. Okay, so like I said, whenever I started, I didn't know what I was doing, and I struggled for 18 months. I had some traffic. To be honest, it was like 120 to 125 visitors a month. I mean, now that's a fraction of what I would get. And I'm not bragging. I'm telling you Whenever I get behind the microphone or sit behind the keyboard, I'm telling you what I did. So I didn't come up in the blogging world at the time where you could like put up a cool post and get like 10,000 subscribers. Like some people will tell you, oh, just do whatever. That doesn't work for me. So I'm telling you, I'm telling you stories, but I'm sharing with you what I did to bootstrap this thing. I had no traffic. It was 120 people every month, and it never went up. And it was mostly me refreshing my blog, telling my mom to go check it out, my wife to go check it out on every single device, and refresh the page, and harassing my friends at work because I was still at Dell at the time, asking them if they'd seen my latest article. But after a year and a half of struggling to attract people to my website, I started trying new things and experimenting with things that were not guaranteed to work. Honestly, one of the things that I did is I signed up, I think it was $300 at the time. I signed up for Jeff Goins' Tribe Writers course. And I never finished the course, but what I did learn was some of the tactics that I'm going to share here. And I'll tell you, one of the things was putting more personality into a post. Write a post that scared you. And I did in the comments section of, he said, write a paragraph or two about something that terrifies you, something that was, deeply personal, and it scares you to write about it because you think you're going to be judged. And I did that, and that was like a light bulb moment for me. But by the way, I'll get to that in a second. The first growth tactic is number one is be less boring. One of the tactics I tried was to be less boring. Yeah, it sounds easy, but for me and most people, putting more personality into our work can be a challenge, and it can be very scary when we do that. Because, let me see if I get to that here in a second. But if we don't put our personality into it, or if we don't, when people don't like what we're doing, it's okay because it wasn't really us that was in the work. But when we put ourselves into the work and nobody likes it, we assume that they don't like us. If we put our heart and soul into something and it gets rejected, that hurts. But if we just kind of, I don't want to curse on the show because I think we have a clean rating in iTunes. I want to keep that. But when we go in half-heartedly and someone doesn't enjoy it, we're like, yeah, whatever, I didn't really try. Do you see how that works? If we go all in and it doesn't work, that's us that's getting rejected. But if we don't put ourselves out there, if we just kind of, whatever, and it doesn't work out, we have that same attitude. It's like, whatever. And that is killing your success. Because the opposite is also true. When you put yourselves into your work and people love it, they also love you. That's one of the reasons entrepreneurship can be so tough. We put so much of ourselves into our work, and people judge us for it all the time. Right now, for the last 8 minutes, you've judged me on this podcast. And that's all right. Sometimes it hurts. Sometimes it's amazing. Actually, whenever I get emails and tweets and all that kind of stuff from people who have listened to the show, and like Chris in California that I mentioned an episode or so ago, who was also sitting in his car outside the office not wanting to go in. I loved getting that email, but I felt so bad because I had been in such a place of misery. But when you put yourself out there, for good or bad, you can be judged. Anyway, growth tactic number 2 is increase your output. The other tactic that I tried was blogging more times per week. And I'll tell you, looking through my stats here for the podcast, I'm clicking up. I use Shout Engine, by the way. I still have an account with Libsyn because they host a lot of episodes. But wow, a lot of downloads today, actually, more than expected. Anyway, so whenever I started publishing more regularly for the Ellery Well Show, of course there are things to be, more things to be downloaded and more blog posts to be read, but you gain traction that way. In an upcoming episode of the Ellery Wells Show, I'm going to have a coaching client named Bridget on the show, and she says something that I'm going to tease you with that's pretty freaking amazing. And she said, after 20 posts, if you get 5% better, and this is so true. I'm telling you this is true. I'm not dancing around it. I'm telling you this is true. If you get 5% better after 20 blog posts or 20 podcast episodes or 20 times going to the gym or 20 Facebook Live videos, if you get 5% better, maybe it's 10% better, you can spread those out over 20 weeks and you can get 5% better over 20 weeks. Or you can condense that down. You can increase your output, again, which is growth tactic number 2. You can do those over 20 days and get 5% better basically every month instead of 5% better every 6 months. She said that and I was like, holy crap, Bridget, that is so true. And I want you to hear me. It's a principle, just like it's a life principle, just like surrounding yourself with the right people, okay? Or you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That is a absolute universal 100% truth. This is also an absolute universal 100% truth. If you wrote a blog post and it won every 20 years, you'd only get 5% better over 20 years. Or if you took those 20 and you condense it down over 20 days, you would get 5% better every 20 days. Anyway, the other tactic that I tried that got me a lot of results was I blogged more times per week. And you'll hear Bridget talk about this as well. Before I made that decision to increase my output, I published a new post every Monday-ish. For that first 18 months where I was really dragging my feet and not getting a lot of results, I was not very consistent either. And I'll get to a quotable quote for you here in just a second, but not only was I not publishing consistently, I wasn't publishing very frequently either. And here's the quotable quote: to be successful, you need both frequency and consistency in anything. Like, I always use the example of Halley's Comet that comes around like every 4 years or leap year. If you did something that was amazing, let's say it was absolutely incredible, but you only did it when Halley's Comet showed up, or you only did it on leap year, I mean, how much better would you really do, or would you get, and how much more of an audience would you build if they have to wait 4 years for it? Now, I get it. Star Wars doesn't come out all that often. A new Avengers movie doesn't come out all that often. But do you have a $500 million budget? Plus, they're doing TV shows and Marvel's doing all of these other things to add into and feed that. But you get my point. You've got to be both frequent and consistent. One summer a few years ago, I published on my blog 3 times a week, and it was a lot of work. And it took quite a bit of planning too, but the reward was pretty clear. After posting with this higher frequency, or after increasing my output from 1 time a week to 3 times a week, and with predictable consistency, my blog traffic over the course of about 3 or 4 months grew over 303%. And that's kind of what we're doing with this writing challenge that I hope you signed up for. I'll probably do it again depending on the results and the feedback. People seem pretty excited about it anyway, but the traffic didn't slow down when I stopped publishing 3 times a week. And in fact, people continued to show up and read my blog over a long period of time. It had that long tail positive effect. The positive effects for writing frequently and consistently were lasting. And I don't know if I still get benefits from the content that I created, because of, increasing that output, I don't know if I do, but I still get traffic to blog content that I wrote 5 years ago. I'll put it that way. So the challenge, just in case you were unclear and are interested and now your interest is piqued, is the challenge is to write a blog post or create a piece of content every single month during the month of August, because August is when most people slow down. But when they slow down, and I have this theory that whenever most people slow down, successful people like step on the gas and really double down and get get going. The reason why I was like not speaking clearly for a second is a phrase came into my head, and it was redouble your efforts. And I don't really like that phrase. But anyway, that's what I was thinking. When during August, when most people slow down, let's redouble our efforts and publish a blog post every single day. Does that sound like a lot of work? Yeah. Yeah, it is. And honestly, even at this point, when we're going right into the challenge or right at the very beginning of it, I have not created content or even got an idea for what I will do every single day. But that's why it's called a challenge. And honestly, I don't know if I will be able to even do that, because other than when, man, my throat is getting dry today. But other than when I was writing Exit Strategy, I've never written as much as I plan on writing in this month of August. Because I've got like, when I came up with this idea, I had 500 blog posts, and there's 31 days in August. That's like 8%. Or actually, let me figure this out. I think it's like 8%, 30 out of 500. Okay, it's actually like 6%, but 6% of my entire blogging library is going to be done here in August. Man, I just refilled my coffee and I shared on Facebook, and my throat is still scratchy, and I don't know why. But if I've learned one thing after doing this for a long time, I say a long time, but it's, well, maybe 5.5 years is a pretty long time, at least in internet terms. It's that success, if I've learned one thing, it's that success comes from showing up regularly over a long period of time. If you're taking notes, if you are filing things away in the back of your mind, remember this: success comes from showing up regularly, or let me say frequently and consistently over a long period of time. But does this writing challenge sound like a lot of fun? I hope so. I hope it does, because I love writing. Writing will make you a better speaker, and I need to hyperlink that in the blog post, but it will help you plan your thoughts and communicate more effectively. And if you own a business, you should be creating content to sell your products. You should be creating content to tell your story and market your brand. Every single business needs a blog. Now, yeah, there might be a few exceptions to that, but for the moment, I'm going to say 100% of businesses need a blog. And this challenge, if you have a business, this challenge will help you attract more visitors to what you're doing. And that's why we started it. That's why it's going. And again, go to the Empowered and Equipped Facebook page, group. It's a group. And check it out. Connect with the people that are doing it and ask them, check me out on this. Ask them if they're seeing any benefits. I mean, granted, maybe it's a year gone by that when you listen to this, or maybe we're right at the beginning when you listen to this, but see if people are getting any sorts of benefits. But you might be sitting there thinking, why blogging? I don't like writing. Blogging is for 16-year-old girls. Is that what they do on Medium? Do people still use MySpace? You might have a lot of questions, but here's why blogging. Because I think you should do a podcast and a video. You should be creating all sorts of content. I mean, in a lot of regards, you should be live streaming like your office and showing people behind the scenes stuff. But I talked about all of that in my book, Exit Strategy. I don't have to mention it or tell you again. But a couple of my clients asked me that question, why I was hosting a writing challenge instead of a podcasting or a video challenge. One of my clients also did she started doing a 30 day, something 20 day, 23 day, 20 day, Facebook Live video challenge. And she's having a lot of success for it too, because the short answer is that the medium doesn't matter as much as the content itself. If you want to blog. If you want to record podcasts, record podcasts. If you want to record, edit, and publish videos, record, edit, and publish videos. That's the short answer. It does not matter what the medium is, just like she's having a lot of success with the Facebook Live video challenge. It doesn't matter. The key is that you're creating valuable or value-adding and valuable and entertaining content. Blogging is the lowest cost and the lowest barrier to entry. Now, I guess Facebook's free. and you call your cell phone free because you're going to be paying for it anyway. So you could technically do Facebook Live videos and put them on your Facebook page, but the cost is pretty high considering you don't own that content anymore. Anyway, blogging has the lowest cost and the lowest barrier to entry. I know 2 people in the challenge anyway that have their website on a free WordPress account. I would not necessarily recommend that for building your business. Email me and I'll tell you the company. Well, I won't. I use Green Geeks. I've switched all of my servers over to Green Geeks. I just got accepted as an affiliate for them. That's not why I recommend them, but I started looking around for another thing that I needed, and I went with Green Geeks. Anyway, you pay for that, and then WordPress is free. You just put your WordPress on your website. Anyway, blogging has a low barrier to entry. You can blog in less than 5 minutes with almost no money, or you can start a blog in less than 5 minutes with almost no money. And it's more costly in both time and money to start a podcast or to edit video. Honestly, if I want to record a 30-minute episode, it takes me about an hour to edit the podcast. If I want to do 30 minutes of video, it usually takes me about 90 minutes to edit the video. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe there's better ways out there. But as far as time and money and resources and barrier to entry, blogging is one of the best ways to do it. Here's the longer answer. It's actually about the same length, but the long answer is that text on a page is still the best way to get search traffic. When you ask Google to index your site, which I'm going to teach people how to do and submit sitemaps, here's a teaser. No one knows this yet. If you go to ElleryWells.com/Dear Entrepreneur, you will find a page with a program where I will teach you some of my super top secret ways to do that. And one of those ways is how to ask Google up to like 10 times a month to index your site. Super top secret. Anyway, when you ask Google to index your site, it asks for a text-based sitemap. Google and Bing do the same thing. Google and Bing read text. They cannot listen to a podcast episode or watch a video and provide you with a summary. Now, there are some voice-to-text transcription services, but they're not perfect. And guess what they're still doing? They're still taking your content and converting it into text. Regardless of what the search engines are doing, and regardless of what modern video-based media like YouTube and Wistia and whatever will tell you, people still love to read. Be it on the toilet or in a meeting, we still pull up websites, blog posts, news articles, and reviews to read. Sometimes you just can't use the volume. Like my wife, when she's in between things at work, I don't want to give you too much detail. I don't get her in trouble. When she's at the gym, that's what we'll say. When she's at the gym and there's a snap that I send her with a lot of video, she doesn't want to like turn the volume and have me doing something goofy and look embarrassed whenever, her phone is just spitting out all this volume. But text messages, my gosh, how many text messages do you send a day? I'm so glad we don't get charged for those anymore. Anyway, people still love to read. So whether you signed up for the challenge or not, I had a bunch of bonuses. I had a bunch of resources, and I guess I'll probably do the challenge again. If you go to ElleryWells.com/challenge, and you want to sign up, I don't have the next one scheduled, but I can still send you some resources and let you know whenever the challenge starts up again. But blogging is a powerful thing, guys. It's how you wouldn't be listening to this if I had not started blogging 5.5 years ago. I think I started on a free domain back, I was on iPage and they were awful. I switched to Bluehost and they were a little bit better. I think that's who I went to next. But I started with a free domain. It was like something webbox236.org or whatever. And I realized pretty quick that I was hitting the limits of what I could do. I didn't want somebody else's logo on my site. I wanted to be able to control everything. That's kind of the difference between a rented site and an owned site. I ElleryWells.com. I own the servers. Well, they're not at my house or, whatever, but I pay for them. I can do almost anything that I want to there. And I own all the content that's on my site. And I quickly learned with those free things that it wasn't working out. But anyway, I would not be here talking to you virtually anyway, or maybe physically if you're whatever. I would not be here. You would not be listening to the sound of my voice had I not started that a long time ago. And then if I hadn't started down that journey, maybe I wouldn't have gotten fired from Dell. Maybe I would have. I'd like to think that my personal development journey would have still continued to the point where I knew too much. I don't know. But I wouldn't have a business. I wouldn't have listeners around the world or readers around the world and clients around the world had I not started a blog. And if you're listening to this, if you made it at this point, 24-ish, 25-ish minutes in, and you're like, I can't do that. I don't have the time. I don't know what to do. I never stick with anything. So why should I try this? Email me. Actually, here's a little bit better because I want to provide you with the tools. I want to provide you with the accountability, and I want to help you troubleshoot it too. I want to get in the weeds with you and help you. Go to ElleryWells.com/Dear Entrepreneur, DEAR Entrepreneur. One word, no hyphens, no dash, nothing like that. Because I'm putting together a program that I want to launch in September. Because like I mentioned before, when I get emails from people like Chris who are like, I'm sitting in my car, I don't want to go in, this sucks. Thank you for writing this in your book because that's me. I relate to that. I don't know if you can hear the frustration in my voice. I don't want you to do that. My goodness, what kind of jerk would I be if I said, I want you to go and be miserable every day? That sucks. That really sucks. And I've been there. And because I started blogging in January of 2012, it was like the 28th, 29th is right there at our, so whenever we celebrate our anniversary, I'm often more likely, our wedding anniversary, that is, I'm more likely to remember my blogging anniversary because I started my blog basically at the same time on the same day, 2 years after we got married. But in the last 5.5 years, I have found a different way to live, and as dumb and corny and kind of lame as that might seem to you, or maybe it's like, man, it doesn't sound like any of those things. I don't know. I'd love to help you not be miserable every day, not feel nauseous when you walk into your office. Whenever I come in here, you've heard me say this. I'm in the same office that that used to be my home office for when I worked at Dell. They we had laptops. They gave us the dock and the monitors. They gave us some stuff. Actually, this headset right here. I don't know why I haven't thrown it away. Honestly, I don't even know if I still have the charging cable for it. But I used to come in this exact same room and get nauseous. Now I get excited. I used to dread it. I used to not enjoy it, and now I love it. And I want you to have that, whether it's full time or just a few hours in the nights and weekends, just so that you can make some extra cash. I want you to have a life that gets you excited, that doesn't make you sick to your stomach. Anyway, go, I've given you a few links. Hopefully you've written them down. I'm going to see if I can remember them real quick. If you go to ElleryWells.com/Dear Entrepreneur, you can see what I'm working on. I want you to enroll for that. If you want to join the Facebook group, it's a public group. Go and search in Facebook for Empowered and Equipped. And let's see. Oh yeah, if you want to join the challenge next time, go to ElleryWells.com/challenge. Way to fail, Ellery, on giving one single thing to do, but maybe I hope you will just pick one of those. If you want to do all three, that'd be great. Pick one and please do it. So I hope you're having an awesome day. I'm recording in the morning today, and I've got a mastermind call here in 23 minutes. So we got to get this wrapped up. So have an awesome day from Round Rock, Texas. I'm your host, Ellery Wells. Thank you for listening to the Ellery Wells Show. Go crush it.